we're fancy and we're gonna make two gorgeous steaks. Perfect steak. Salt the steak with this good salt. Temperature ambient on both sides. Massage it and add pepper. Where's the fucking pepper? Pepper, both sides, and let it rest for 5. A little bit of olive oil.
Need the rosemary?
This is hot. Let's add it to the cast iron. That sound, not before. Let's wait a second so we'll get hotter. Go back to temperature, and voila, we'll get the other steak on. Add rosemary and thyme. Turn the steak. Turn up the steak. And then add butter. Turn down the heat, butter on the top of the steak. Don't make it dry. Continue to batter it. Chop your knife before. Wow. Let's try it. Let's try the steak. Because you eat steak like this. Alright, buon appetito.
Oh, it's the chef, boy. First of all, you're going to choose your cut of steak. I'm going for these rump steaks from Muscle Foods. And then you're going to leave them on the side for about 20 minutes to bring them closer to room temperature. Then you want to get a pan on a really high heat and give it a nice bit of olive oil. You're going to grab your steak and dip it in the seasoning on each side. You're going to sear the steak on each side, about 10 seconds. You're going to flip that over, give it another 10 seconds, and then turn that heat right down so it just warms through. So the best way to tell if your steak is cooked is by using your hand. If you touch your finger on your thumb and then press here, that's medium rare. Medium well, well done. So that looks medium rare to me. You're going to leave your steak to rest for 5 minutes, and I'm just going to drop this peppercorn butter on top. Look at the colour of that! And there is your tutorial on how to cook the perfect steak.
What's up, everybody? I'm gonna show you how to sear the best steak at home, not on a grill, classic old school cast iron. Let's go. Start off with a good rub. We're using the Butcher's Blend from Gustus Vitae. You can also go with salt and pepper. Use what you like. Get your cast iron screaming hot, add in your olive oil. Put your steak in, cook for 3.5 minutes. Do not touch it. Once you flip it, you should have a sexy crust like that. Add in some butter, some garlic, baste that baby, cook for 2.5 more minutes. After 2.5 minutes, we're gonna let it rest on a cutting board covered in the butter. Cover it in foil, let it rest for 10 minutes, and it will slice like butter. Pretty in pink, Molly Ringwald status. Gorgeous, juicy steak. Gotta try it out. Boss Hog approved, baby.
This is how you do it. Step 1, find a steak with the most fat marbled into the meat. Step 2, pull your steak out of the fridge 40 minutes before cooking. Rosemary, salt, finely ground black pepper. Use a ripping hot pan. Neutral oil. Flip after 2.5 minutes. Shallots and garlic in, rosemary and thyme on the steak. Heat down and put the unsalted base. A resting rack everyone owns. Pour some of those juices over. Rest it for half as long as you cooked it. And I'm out.
Tomahawk steak coming up right now. Get some fat off. A lot of salt on it. 240, 250 oven, real low. Cook it to 10 degrees less than how you like your steak. Took about an hour and 20 minutes. We're ready for reverse searing. We're at 112. Do 1 minute on each side, 2 times. Let it melt.
Let's learn how to make a bomb-ass chili and actually just use dried chilies. Why don't people do this? Let's learn how. Throw your chilies in, hot water. Let them soak for like 10 minutes. Then just throw the soaked chilies and water in a blender and just blend it up. Now we have some nice chili puree. Then get some diced onion, bunch of garlic cloves, Santa Marzana tomatoes, and chop that steak into nice chunks. Look at that beautiful marbling. Sprinkle in a good bit of salt, 15 cranks of pepper too, and give that a rough mix. Let that steak brown up real nice. Those little brown bits are what you're looking for. Clean out the bowl, drain your beef into there, and now we're gonna cook up some vegetables. Saute for 2 to 3 minutes and then toss in your chili puree. Woo-wee! Bring that to a nice bubble and toss in your whole tomatoes. I like tossing in some diced green chilies too. A little bit of cumin. Toss the beef back in there. Yeah. Set that baby on low, we're gonna sit it for 2 hours. Go make yourself that proper chili.
I'm tired of seeing people's overcooked steaks with no color on it on this app, alright? We're gonna fix that, we're gonna learn how to cook a steak. This is a ribeye. It's a little over an inch thick, all right?
Sure that thick bit is dry. Oil, enough to coat the bottom. Don't
Medium high, real hot, bro.
wait for the pan to get hot.
Salt your steak. Go heavy. Both sides. It better make this noise, bro.
Sear 2 to 3 minutes. Let's flip. Wow, I'm tired of seeing gray steaks. You need color for flavor. Garlic.
Crush ham. Toss them in. Yeah, that's fine. In the pan.
Do me a favor and baste it properly. Don't do a tiny little butter and just a little bit. I'm saying baste it.
Rest. 3 to 5 minutes. Why not? Just for good.
The pepper while it's resting.
And that's how you cook a steak.
Hey Kelsey, how do I grill a steak? Ooh, my favorite.
First, put the steaks out on a pan and let them sit at room temperature for about 20 minutes. With cold meats right out of the fridge, when you put them onto something really hot, they seize up and they're actually going to be more tough. So let them sit out for a little bit. Don't let them sit out for too long, but you do want them to be not as cold as out of the fridge. Season with a lot of salt, pepper.
Add whatever seasoning you like. I personally like the natural flavor of steak, so I just put salt and pepper and then I make a compound butter. I'll show you that in the next video.
Make sure your grill is super hot and put the steak on an angle, like that. The meat will tell you when it's ready. It'll come off easily, and then you turn it to the side. If you want the cross hatches. If you don't, just flip it over. Then flip it over. The best way to tell the temperature is to take it.
I'm gonna show you how to cook a steak the right way. Unpackage the steak, let it sit for at least an hour to get to room temperature. Get some of this, it tastes good. Put it on the steak, be generous. Add some garlic salt. And for a little extra spice, some cayenne. Turn on your skillet really, really hot. Once the pan is really hot, we're gonna add some oil, olive oil. Add your steak, you should hear a sizzle. Three and a half minutes, flip the steak. Add a teaspoon of butter. Let it rest for 5 minutes. Yummy!
What's good, y'all? Think Daddy here ready to cook you a steak. I got a ribeye. Organic, Trader Joe's, that's all I fuck with. Pink Himalayan salt, lemon pepper. Sorry, shit got fucked up there. Lemon pepper, 21 seasoning salute. Let's go. All right, you really want to season that hoe. Salt, 21 seasoning salute, fuck. And lemon pepper. All right, next step, earth balanced butter in the pan. Medium heat. Tally, oh, fuck! All right, timer, 7 minutes. We're gonna do 7 minutes each side. Let's go. Flip that hoe. Ah! All right, see how it turned out. Great. Wow, look at that. Gorgeous. Beautiful medium rare.
Let's prep some skirt steak. Cut it up into smaller pieces. Take some adobo paste. I picked this up from my local Mexican store. A couple tablespoons is all you need. Add some beer. 1 can will do. Squeeze the juice from 1 lime. The juice from 1 orange. And mix it all together. Mix, mix, mix. Put your skirt steak back in. Get it nicely coated. Layer in some onion, a few sprigs of cilantro, more skirt steak, more onion, more cilantro, and in the fridge it goes for an overnight marinade.
If the first steak you ever cooked wasn't on something like this, then you did it wrong. Let's actually grill a steak instead of finishing it in the oven or on a cast iron pan. Liberally season both sides of the steak. I use sriracha salt because I like that little bit of kick. You can use any grill you want. If you have a gas grill, that's fine. I prefer charcoal. I have a big green egg mini max. take the steaks directly over the flame, and that's how you're going to start. For a medium rare steak like I prefer, I go about 5 minutes per side. You get that nice char, that nice crust. Flip the steaks, same thing on the other side. You see the finished product on both sides here. Once you take it off the grill, let the steak rest for about 10 minutes before you slice it. Letting the steak rest is going to allow the juice to redistribute throughout the meat, so you're not going to lose it when you slice it. For me, I finish with a perfect medium rare steak.
What's up? I'm going to show you the easiest reverse sear steak. Generously season the steak and let it sit out for an hour with salt and pepper. Set your oven to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. The steak goes in until it reads 115 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, the steak's going to come out not looking pretty. Get a ripping hot cast iron, a little neutral oil. Now we're going to take a steak and sear it. 1 minute each side. After a minute, turn your steak and just admire the sear. Now in the pan, add rosemary, thyme, butter. Baste the steak with butter. Take the steak out and let it rest for 10 minutes. Tuck your steak in and let it take a little nap. There you have it. Reverse sear steak.
How to cook the perfect steak like Gordon Ramsay. First thing, hot pan. Second, salt and pepper. Touch of olive oil. Parmesan. Last, add...
How to make food a little less boring. Today, steak! I accidentally started filming after I started cooking the steak, so we're just gonna go with it. Get a cast iron griddle, or any pan, that'll work. A steak not necessarily this humongous, and if it was in the freezer prior to you cooking it, leave it up for like 2 hours. Usually you want to go 1 click below medium, but since this was frozen for a while, we're doing medium. Oil, pan, or whatever you're using to cook it on, and put steak on. And lightly season it with garlic, salt, and pepper. Now I like to do it medium rare, so we're gonna do medium rare. Flip giant steak. Ow, got it. Oil on hand hurts. Now put some potatoes in the microwave. And no, we're not doing mashed potatoes again. Literally just some cooked potatoes. And this potato is one of the instances where you throw the potato away. Put in microwave for 5 minutes since they're time. Garlic, salt, pepper. End of part 1. I can wait for the video to upload in order to take the steak off the grill, so that happened. I'd stuck a knife in it to check it, and it is good. And now I'm gonna cut it in half and store half of it because I don't even eat that much. Pink in the middle and a little bit bloody, yes. My mom will probably eat you next. Potatoes are soft and ready. And now you have a delicious dinner ready to eat. Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing people's overcooked steaks with no color on it on this app, alright? We're gonna fix that. We're gonna learn how to cook a steak. This is a ribeye. It's a little over an inch thick, alright?
Make sure that thick bit is dry. Oil, enough to coat the bottom. Don't
Medium high, real hot, bro.
wait for the pan to get hot.
Salt your steak, go heavy. Both sides. It better make this noise, bro. Sear 2 to 3 minutes. Let's flip. Wow, look at tired of seeing gray steaks. You need color for flavor. Garlic. Crush them. Toss them in. Yeah, that's fine. In the pan. Do me a favor and baste it properly. Don't do a tiny little butter and just a little bit. I'm saying baste it. Rest 3 to 5 minutes.
Why not? Just for good.
The pepper while it's resting. And that's how you cook a steak.
Tired of everybody telling me how to make a steak on TikTok. They're wrong. This is how you make it the real way. Season both sides. Push that seasoning in. Oil your pan. Make sure you turn that to medium high. Swirl that oil around the pan. Make sure that shit's a high smoking point. I'm using olive oil for this one. This is how you make sure your pan's hot enough. It's good. It better make this sound when you put it in the pan. Better make that sizzle. Let that cook for 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Garlic in the pan. 4 tablespoons of butter in the pan. Melt the butter and make sure to baste your steak. You want to be basting it. Make sure you get that butter on top of that steak. Next, add your thyme. Add the additional butter to the steak and enjoy.
Hey everybody, today we're going to be showing you how to cook a steak. Let me start off by saying that I have never cooked or eaten a steak because of a certain type of bone poisoning I have that makes my blood think that I have too much blood if I eat anything that has blood in it. To cook a steak, you'll just need a good hunk of beef muscle. Beef is just a fancy word for cow, for those of you who don't know. To this we'll be adding salt, cloves, dry kitchen paper, vegetable oil, and steak. Put it in a pan, a black pan, and cook it using heat. Heat is just a fancy word for warmth, for those of you who don't know. You'll also want to add the cream from the cow you've killed, but be sure to churn the cream using old-timey methods to make it into butter first. Plop that in there until it's a dirty brown color. Add a stem, one more clock, and put the beef on a wood and slice it up and let it cool. You want it to be completely cool before you feed it to your family, otherwise they will be mad at you again. Put it on a plate of leaves and dumb tomatoes and leave the room so your family can eat in peace